they can sell pesticides, they can sell animal feed in this bill. There's a lot of insurance required when you sell these kind of products. It's all been gutted out of the bill. So what this bill, and that's why I say we shouldn't even amend this bill. We should get rid of this bill because we already have agricultural tourism in the law. This bill is amending that section and basically gutting it. It's saying to the farmers, you don't have to be farmers anymore. You can be businessmen. Once you get this minor agricultural tourism operation, you can sell ice cream out of your house. You can sell all food. You can sell any kind of clothing. You can sell knickknacks from China. Now, how is that going to help support our local economy and our local farmers and our local artisans if you can sell knickknacks from China? So I'm closing this up just to say, yes, you can amend this bill, but I hope it's postponed forever. And it's an unnecessary bill. And thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak. I did want to speak on one of the things that I hadn't signed up for. Wondering if it's all right if I speak on the storm that's coming. Thank you. Okay. I wanted to say this, that number one, I just want everyone to know that if voting is in any way hampered by the storm, there is provisions in our law where they can then make another day for voting because it was a natural disaster that came that day or natural causes that stopped and prevented people from voting. So there is something in our law already that will help us pick another day for voting if we're not able to do it on Saturday. And the reason why I want to stress this is because right now the Attorney General is starting an investigation on one of the county council candidates. It should be in the newspaper tomorrow. There's going to be some kind of press conference today. So if people vote early, they're not going to understand that one of the candidates in the race is now being investigated for voter fraud and other things. Yeah.
Stick to the storm.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, if you vote early and you decide not to vote because Saturday is a storm, you might miss some important information that would affect your vote, is all I'm saying. So vote when we're supposed to on Saturday, and if we can't vote on Saturday, then they're going to extend it by law, and we'll be able to do it, because you want to be aware of the investigations that are going on. That might affect your vote, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much. Aloha, everyone.
Okay.
Stay dry.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to transition to Ka'u. Good morning, Ka'u, again. Go ahead. Ka'u, go ahead.
Good morning. Our first testifier is Ron Gall. Sorry about that.
Good morning, Council, and aloha. First of all, I wanted to appreciate the work you do for our community. We're a very small community in relation to a lot of others. And now I'm testifying in regard to Bill 268, which is a development of a village, commercial, I believe it's called, for zoning change. I also sent, on August 3rd, I sent all county council an email about the concerns I have about this development. Since that time, I've talked to Laura Foster of the Hogue Road Maintenance Corporation. I believe that in talking with her that they have met with Mr. Stockton, the developer and owner of the 4-acre parcel, and have mostly resolved the road concerns. They are private roads paid by landowners, property owners in Ocean View. And that concession includes widening Lehua Lane to two 12-foot lanes with a 3-foot shoulder on each side. And that will be the whole block between Highway 11 and Keaka. And will include a 2-inch layer top coat of either asphalt or chip seal. That hasn't been determined, and probably the road corporation could talk more to that. I've also talked to Mr. Stockton. I talked to him last night, or Monday night, I believe it was. My impression in talking with him is that he does intend to make Lehua Court development a aesthetically pleasing with a good mix of businesses. And he also confirmed regarding the widening of Lehua Lane in the block from Highway 11 to Keaka. Mr. Stockton, as well as everyone else I've talked with about this development, would like to convince the Department of Water Supply to extend the pipeline from the water station in Ocean View, which is just right across Lehua Lane from this development, to the development, so that water for the development would not need to be hauled by trucks. And there's estimated at somewhere around, looks like I'm running out of time. Anyway, it seems like a no-brainer, but apparently the water department is not interested in doing anything. The last, I want to get this in, there's not going to be a turning lane at the intersection of Lehua and Highway 11. The State Department, the Department of Transportation has allowed the zoning change without that being there. There are a couple of things that need to be done, at least, and maybe county council can exert some pressure on them to do this. Right now, the speed at that intersection is 55 miles an hour. I would recommend that they move that 45 mile per hour speed reduction at least a quarter mile south, and also close off the plastic, put the solid line on the road so that no passing is allowed, which is stops right at the Lehua Lane. Unfortunately, the Department of Transportation isn't going to put in a turning lane there. What often happens is that someone must be killed at the intersection before they actually do this. We would seriously like to avoid that occurrence. As a resident of Ocean View and a former police officer, I know that intersection is going to be very hazardous. Okay, so I guess I had some more things there. Let's do it. Okay. I guess I think I've covered pretty much everything. The issues of the roads, the water issue, the issue of water use, which is about 6,000 gallons a day by the development, is still a concern. Traffic safety and aesthetics, those are the issues I have.
Okay, thank you.
Our next testifier is Richard Abbott, in support of Bill 268, and representing himself, who is a candidate for County Council District 6. Go ahead, Mr. Abbott.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to be able to help complete Ron's testimony. He ran out of time. And
point of order. I think that was an inappropriate statement or introduction of a person. This is not a political arena here. So I object to how that introduction was made and the opportunity to take this type of forum that way.
All right, thank you, Ms. Poindexter.
Okay.
It's noted. Mr. Abbott, please continue.
yes, my name is Richard Abbott. I'm a resident of Ocean View here, speaking about the Lehua Court development, and would like to reiterate my support for it. And after Monday's meeting with Mr. Stockton, we feel that most every other of our issues have been addressed adequately, except for perhaps the safety along the highway. So I'd like to reiterate some of those concerns here about reducing the speed to 45 miles an hour, at least 1/4 mile before coming from the south, since we're not going to have a left turn lane. And then also would like to reiterate testimony that we've had previously from Ocean View that Ron and I were going to make, that was going to compliment the council for providing this opportunities to be able to fit people's busy schedules with the ability to testify remotely like this, and would like to continue to see this if possible, but also like to see if it couldn't be expanded so that somehow it could be televised. Also, in relationship to the storm, I just wanted to testify that the two storms coming have reminded us of just how important both products and services are to us down here in Kau, and how far of a drive it is to Hilo and Kona, to the larger stores, to be able to prepare for things like this. And it just adds to all of us in the community the support that we would like to express for this development. And send aloha to everyone who attended on Monday night, including my two new friends, the Deputy Clerk Miley David and Jim Wilson, who also expressed support for this. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. We're going to transition back here to Hilo. Mr. Mel, you're up.
Aloha, Kako. I haven't been before you folks for a while. Ag Bill 25 is a travesty. Do you know or have you been told about Senate Bill 2274? That was defeated and opposed by many Puna residents. And here we are with Ag 25. Thank you, Zendo. Thank you, Brenda, for getting this word out, saying we're going to postpone this. But at least we get to speak and speak the truth of problems that we have where people need to testify, tell you their feelings. But to have somebody who's going to sell small amounts of farm items in my subdivision is unacceptable. So maybe this can get hashed out and it can be worked on before anything gets approved or voted on. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you for your testimony. Ms. Polena, good morning, aloha.
Good morning, aloha. Thank you. Chairman, Yoshimoto, and members of this council, and members of the public. I personally support small businesses and people being able to sell their products that they farm in the agricultural areas. However, I'm living in Lingani Estates. I'm an increment 1, so I'm not within the subdivision's association. That's increment 2. Part of my road is paved, part of my road is not paved, and we all take responsibility for that part of the private road, the residents do, although we're out of that subdivision conglomerate. I don't like Bill 25 at all. I read the existing law, Chapter 25-4-15, pertaining to agro-tourism, and I don't often agree with previous testimony to this extent, but I have to say that Sativa Sultan's testimony stresses what I feel, and I won't be redundant. But I will say that I will not tolerate the added extra activity in practice, if not zoning, residential area in my subdivision. I strongly object to Bill 25 on that reason, and also there's a sub-reason attached to that. When you have thousands of people coming into your subdivision, supposedly to buy ag products, ag tourism, you open the door for negative associated illegal activities. And we have, in our subdivision, worked very diligently and continue to work very diligently to eradicate all drug houses. And I'm not saying that every person that has an agro-tourism business is going to be a drug dealer, but I am saying that the door is open for a lot of infiltration of that illegal activity in that category. When you get into minor agriculture, I want you to strike the minor agriculture out of it. I think that isn't necessary. I did hear the small farmers talking about the minor agricultural stipulation would open the door for them to more easily sell their products directly from their properties. Perhaps you could introduce an amendment that eliminates this agro-tourism from the subdivisions, which are all zoned in Puna, all zoned agriculture with variances. I have 30 seconds left.
That's your time.
That was my time, okay. I'd like to, although I did not sign up for this, thank you. I'd like to thank this council for addressing the forthcoming, two storms that I hope bypasses. The storms could do whatever they want. In Florida, where I was raised, they were very erratic. Here, they're more predictable, it seems. I would also request that all of the council members here do whatever they can do, regardless of your interest or non-interest in the coming election. If the storm activity, if the winds and the rain are really make it dangerous for people to vote on Saturday, postpone that election to help all of us to have a fair and even time to vote, and carefully look at the storm and carefully look at the repercussions there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. Alrighty. Before I continue with testifiers here in Hilo, are there any other testifiers at any of the other sites? I believe I covered them all. Hearing none, we're going to continue with Mr.
Smith.
Oh, go ahead.
Testifiers here in Ka'u still. I have one testifier left here in Ka'u.
Okay, why don't let's take Mr. Smith since he's right here, and then we'll have Mr. Gehring also come to the table, and then we'll take the co-testifier. So, Mr. Smith, good morning.
Good morning, Council. And, concerning Bill 25, I think we have a conflict here. I mean, in these subdivisions, our substandard subdivisions in Kuna, we have a conflict between real acreage. For instance, if you have, say, a small farm in Kohala, wherever, 5 acres, 10 acres, whatever, you know, they just by the amount of land it would take to have 5 farmers in an area, you're not going to have that much traffic on the road. In reality, de facto is that these so-called ag lots are subdivisions in Kuna. We have 5 major ones, you know, several thousand lots apiece. I mean, so maybe, you know, if you really want to promote ag, you know, ag tourism, you might want to consider putting a stipulation on acreage, because most of these lots in Puna are 1 to 3 acres. Okay, that's it. And the thing is, most of the land out there is stone. It's very difficult to get a commercial amount of produce off that land. I mean, you can manage an orchard and a house garden. That's what we do. Okay. But the thing is, and if I have a few extra things, I could go down to the market. And the thing is that, again, it's the traffic that's the big thing. It's not that we don't want business. You know, I have a small workshop at my place with work, right? I know 3 mechanics in our subdivision, several capital. These are businesses that don't require huge traffic, and that's the major problem. So, I mean, Bill 25, you know, the intent is good. I like that. I mean, I want to promote small business whenever we can, but not in the substandard subdivisions that you have here in Puna and Ka'u, for that matter. So the point of the matter is that, you know, go back, you know, go through, I mean, Bill 25 as it is mostly a wish list. Go back, craft it, see what you can do. Standing law. And in any case, maybe come after, you know, maybe change the standing law, maybe a bite at a time. Don't try to go into something that's too huge or too, you know, complicated. I think that might work out. But beyond that, no, you know, I think that, again, maybe just an acreage thing. You know, if it's like below 3 acres of land, don't include it in ag tourism. I mean, we even have a few bed and breakfasts in the subdivision too, which is not bad because, again, you don't have a heavy traffic. I think maybe 2 acres, you know, and these are 50 acres. Anyway, oh, and again, about the storm, if possible, keep the voting open, you know, Saturday, but if not, by all means, close it down. We can vote again.
Mr. Gehring, good morning.
Good morning, Council. Thank you for the opportunity. Larry Gearing, Hilo. I got down Resolution 481-14. Can I do a little bit on Bill 25 also? Yes. Resolution 481. I grew milk and cows and sold milk. It baffles me, really, when I first read this article in the newspaper a while back, it baffles me why some body thought it was wise to create an agency to determine the price of milk. That's over the top for me. I mean, we milk cows, we pasteurize it, we sold it to a daycare center with no problem. No, not even any county intervention. I really think it's an overstep when you try to regulate all these things, especially when the doggone price of products there is as high as it is. And then you get into homegrown milk. I'm a big believer in homegrown, keeping it local. But when that homegrown milk is $2 to $3 a gallon more than other milk, where's the rationale? Where is the rationale? I think it's good for competition. Competition is what keeps prices high, people. If you don't have competition, prices go through the sky. I know all the other relevant, or what they say, transportation costs, this and that, and the other thing. Competition will help keep prices low. I think it's good. And I think that this wholesale minimum price list should get thrown out. Let it run at fair market value. Bill 25, thank you. Bill 25 on the tourism, well, there again, I have a farming background. I think anything agritourism is good. You can put some parameters on it, like the gentleman suggested, maybe minimum acreage or whatever. But you know, when they start saying about the traffic, what about traffic from B&Bs, yard sales, garage sales, car sales? You know, you could have a neighbor that's got a hot rod, and he's got it for sale, and you have 25 hot rod enthusiasts come down the street and want to take a look at it to buy it. How are you going to regulate that? So it's not much different. So just keep it within perspective and go with that. But agritourism is very important. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. Okay, we're going to transition to Ka'u and at the same time ask Lonnie Weigert.
Thank you, Chair. Our last testifier for the day is Joan Obra, representing herself in support of Bill 25.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Council. Thank you very much for hearing my testimony today. My name is Joan Obra, and I'm the daughter of the founders of Rustic Hawaiian, a coffee farm, mill, and roastery in Ka'u. And stated before, I am testifying in support of Bill 25. As Rusty's Hawaiian currently does not have facilities devoted to agritourism, my support for this bill comes from personally witnessing the benefits of this industry in California. Before moving to Hawaii, I was the food reporter for the Fresno Bee newspaper. And as some of you may know, Fresno is in one of the nation's top agricultural areas. There, changes in zoning ordinances and support from Fresno County's Director of Tourism enabled the growth of diverse agritourism experiences. There were maps leading tourists to small fruit stands, bed and breakfasts on farms, and weekend events linking groups of wineries. These businesses and events satisfy the public's hunger to learn how its food is produced, and in some cases, agritourism saved family farms. In 2006, I wrote a story for the Fresno Bee called Emerging Crops, which featured an orange ranch that survived a devastating freeze thanks to income from its bed and breakfast. The same story included a small dairy farmer who faced intense competition from larger dairy farms and survived the crunch by creating a museum with his agricultural artifacts. Bill 25 would have similar benefits in Hawaii. By creating classifications for major and minor operations, the bill would maintain appropriate restrictions on larger agritourism experiences while enabling smaller farms to benefit from supplemental income. And finally, connecting Hawaii's residents and farmers with a diverse agritourism here would create support for a locally grown food supply, which is critically important given our state's high level of food imports. As our own Hawaii Department of Agriculture says, buy local, it matters. Thank you again for listening to me today, and if you would like to see a copy of my emerging crop story, I'm happy to email that to you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. All right, we're going to transition to Sheila. Morning, and before I give your testimony on Bill 25.
Hello, Chairman and council members. My name is Lonnie Weigert, and I am the Executive Director of Hawaii Agritourism Association here in the state of Hawaii. I am also the Marketing Director for Hamakua Mushrooms, so I do understand when farms are really struggling with their crop, and without diversification of revenues, it's very, very difficult for them to just stand on their crop alone. What I think is really important about this bill is the economic driver that it is. Besides the supplemental income that it will provide for farmers, it also provides for jobs. In Hamakua Mushrooms in Lahoihoi, we have 17 employees, 14 of them are all from Hawaii. So for an area that is so high in unemployment, this is something that needs to be addressed. I'd also like to suggest if Councilman Kern's office and Councilwoman Ford's office would like to initiate a discussion amongst testifiers over the last year, come together for the purpose of understanding and acquiring a middle ground of what is accepted, what people are willing to compromise on, what absolutely won't work. I would definitely support that and be happy to participate in that. This bill is about perpetuating culture and heritage as well as economic development. As a native Hawaiian here, I feel that farmers have a lot to share with regard to their culture. I feel that ag tourism really promotes the multi-generational family legacy farms, and also that everyone here understands that the visitors are also local people coming to these farms. And being at Hamakua Mushrooms, I can say, first and foremost, that thousands of cars and buses are not coming to this. So I hope that we are able to keep all of this in perspective and know that farming is not going to exist on farming alone. It has to have diversified revenue in order for farmers to continue to stay in farming. Thank you, and please support Bill 24.
Okay, that concludes the testimony portion of our agenda. Unless there's anyone else that wishes to testify, could you please say so now, otherwise we're going to continue with our agenda. Hearing none. Okay, council members, I'm going to be calling up Mr. Oliveira first. And yes, so council members is going to have Mr. Oliveira come for it, and then we're going to and then Ms. Morgan. Okay, let's see. Mr. Clerk, since we amended the agenda, we amended the agenda earlier to add an informational briefing from Civil Defense Commissioner Darrell Oliveira regarding the weather conditions that are forthcoming. So I would need a motion to file.
It's not a communication. Motion to approve the discussion, presentation.
I can bring this over. Okay, Mr. Oliver, please. Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. Sorry. Currently, Hurricane Iselle is maintaining a Category 1 level of intensity because we have winds of 75 to 95 miles per hour. At 11 o'clock this morning, the National Weather Service put our island on a hurricane warning because we did a 36-hour window back from the system. We'll be putting out additional information to the public, but aside from the winds, we could expect 12 to 18 foot surf along the coastline, about 1 to 2 foot surge in our harbors, rainfall of about 5 to 8 inches over a 5 to 6 hour period as the system is over. So basically, we are going to be ramping up preparations and response plans in anticipation of how a very force event. We've already identified shelters in respective communities. We have 11 shelters in the open tomorrow morning. We're looking at the Red Cross and DOE. Obviously, we got the message we will be closing schools tomorrow. We have target schools that are closed as of 4 o'clock today, and those are the ones that use the shelters and prep facilities. The 11 schools, like I said, is island-wide, and that information is already put out so far. We just have more information coming out. We went up, and as far as the questions regarding the status of county business, we've been having a conversation with the employees and the public as far as any change in the
Any questions, council members? You might want Ms. Over has to get back to the office, so I want to keep it brief. Mr. Iligan?
Mr. Chair, I, along with myself, we were in a briefing yesterday. I just wanted to make sure the facts were still as accurate before, and I just wanted to make sure for the shelters, you said that they were going to open at 12 noon or earlier. Are they still going to open at 12 noon?
Likely we'll be opening them up further. Part of the conversation we'll be having with the Red Cross and DOE hinges on some of the information we'll get from the Weather Service. Usually it's forecasted impact by the winds as the primary reason. So we're trying to get an update if that's going to change the timeline to open up the shelters.
Okay. I just wanted to let everyone know here that the 11 schools are La Hoy School, Kohala High School Elementary, Kalakehe High School, Kona Waina High School, and Kalakehe High School is Pet Safe. Kona Waina High School is Pet Safe and also Special Needs. Hilo High School is Pet Safe. Waikea High School is Pet Safe and Special Needs. There's 2 special needs shelters, which is Kona Waina High School and Waikea High School. Dale High School is Pet Safe. Lowell High School Intermediate is Pet Safe. Honoka'a High School and Intermediate is Pet Safe. Old High School is Pet Safe. And Waikoloa Elementary. So those are the 11 shelters that were mentioned. One more question. The last discussion that was the briefing was that on Thursday the schools are going to be closed. So you were trying to find out if Friday that was for sure. And when we went there this morning at 8 o'clock, I talked to one of the principals. He said that they were going to talk to the superintendent at 10, but I still haven't got any word. Was there any final on the closure for Friday?
Prior to coming here for this briefing, I hadn't heard back yet. DOE was sitting in their internal meeting, so I'm expecting that information to be coming so I can share with them.
Awesome. So as of right now, Thursday is for sure.
Correct.
I believe it's after Wednesday, all after school programs starting at 2 o'clock, there'll be school closure, and any after school programs from thereafter, right?
Correct.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Iligan. Ms. Willie?
Okay, I just want a question about the estimated timeline. I know people have said to me, well, do I go in, try to vote on Thursday, because I'm afraid about Friday, and I'm worried that Thursday may be, when they're trying to get in, the worst possible time to go. So I didn't know if they were going to be closed Thursday afternoon, at what point that decision would be made. And then second, with the second hurricane coming in, if that could possibly, if there's a possibility of that hitting by Saturday. So just trying to, it looks like things are speeding up actually from the initial projection. And I just wondered when you know about open on Thursday, on Saturday.
We'll be having conversations with the mayor's office as well as with clerk elections as far as any changes to the plans for Thursday. Currently, the system is forecasted to come on shore Thursday afternoon, cross over the island in a matter of 6 to 8 hours, and then move. Reservation is another system that's expected forecasted to come on Sunday. So we may have a window on Saturday, and we're working again closely with the election clerk's office as far as any support they would need in the election process on state laws, avoiding any hazards or safety concerns. As far as your question, the decision as to when the polls will be closed on Thursday, we'll get that information as soon as possible to share
Mr. Clerk, I would like you to address some of the comments made regarding voting. I understand that state office elections are called shop and as well as the government have something to say. So would you like to address the comments on whether or not we're going to be open or shut on Saturday? And who gets to make that?
Right now, it's just business as usual. We're going to be open on Saturday. Absolutely walk tomorrow. We'll look at the extension on the absolutely walk. But as of right now, it's kind of a wait and see. We don't know what the effects are going to be, but we're ready to go.
Next question regarding election mail-in ballots. This storm, it looks like a direct hit. Assuming a direct hit could delay the post office delivery of ballots. So if ballots come in after Saturday, will your office be counting them?
Can we get Mr. Olvera back to the office? So
Oh.
if there are questions to him, you can ask the question afterwards.
Okay,
want to
I
get it.
agree. Okay, Gerald, okay.
Good? Okay. Okay, real quick, Mr. Huluga, we want to get him back. One question, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one more question. I just wanted to ensure this is still, if there's any changes. I believe the projected time was going to hit was on Thursday, 8 p.m. Is that still the same?
At the last break, and we got the person information from the weather service. 2:00 p.m. tomorrow, still a forecast. The eye of the storm will be passing later, but the initial effects, because the storm reaches out over 140 miles, we could see the wind and rain far in advance of the eye. Systems were planning for tomorrow. And the surf is obviously coming earlier. We're expecting the surf to start even as early as today, not tomorrow.
Don't cancel the assignment. Thank you.
Alrighty, okay. So, okay, thank you, Mr. Olvera. We'll get you on your way. Thank you very much. Okay, all those in favor? Oh, no, you wanted to have more questions.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Ford.
Gerald, no,
Okay.
Gerald, he's got his hands up.
All right, you got the floor back,
Mr.
Jim.
Clerk, my concern is absentee ballots that are mailed in. Whether hits us hard and possibly delays delivery by the post office if we don't get the ballots until maybe Monday or Tuesday. Will you be counting those ballots as being mailed in a timely fashion? Will you count them as part of the election?
Right now, we're having ongoing talks with state elections, and that's an issue that we can discuss further with them. I am not able to have an answer for you.
Thank you. I appreciate if you would discuss that. We don't know what the postal service is going to be. I know their motto is, rain, wind, sleet, and all that. We've got a hurricane. It's a whole different thing. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on that agenda item? If not, do you want to suspend the rules for voting? Mr. Kern?
Mr. Chairman, suspend the rules, allow us to be voice vote.
Second.
Discussion on that? If not, roll call on that motion to suspend the rules to allow voice vote.
Ms. Young? Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Iligan?
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha? Mr. Curry?
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter?
Aye.
Ms. Willie?
Aye.
Chair Shimona?
Aye.
Chair Shimona with 9 ayes.
The motion passes for the duration of this meeting. All those in favor of informational briefing from Ms. Oliveira, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, now, Mr. Kern, you wanted to take resolution 40, and then we're going to go with 41 after that. Ms. Gates.
43.
Yes.
Resolution 483-14 transfers appropriates appropriation out and from the designated fund account and credit same to a designated fund account to the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney to assist with expenses related to the implementation of a courthouse dog program. Transfers appropriates $5,500 out from clerk council services contingency relief account, Council District 5, and credit same to the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney, other current expenses, miscellaneous contract services account, courthouse dog program. Reference communication 971 introduced by Mr. Kern, Wave FC.
Kern? Mr. Kern, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is an awesome program that I found about last year. I wanted to contribute to PRF on the last cycle by talking about this, that they were good. So at the earliest opportunity I had, I wanted to make a contribution to this program. They brought the dog up to my office, made me look at it, gave me the go try my screen. I never met the dog until this morning. And I can see, just sitting by, you can see that moment. I can only imagine somebody that's actually in need of that, and what that can do to and for somebody. So it's an honor to be able to contribute to this program. You folks, I say thank you. You guys have been waiting here for 3 hours. So if you'd like to say something, please do. Not necessary.
Thank you very much for, first of all, Councilman, all the council people who have supported our courthouse dog Faith, who has been here in D.C. This is really her working clothes. Believe it or not, I mean that really is a working clothes. I just want to share that we have had Faith for about a month now, and just kind of explain what Faith does, so people understand.
Kind of explain what Faith does.
I'll do it by analogy.
People understand.
Last week.
I'll do it by analogy. Last week.
Interrupt. Prosecuting attorney. We're together with Pat Perot, handler, also an investigator for office, and courthouse dog Faith. So just to give you knowledge of how Faith works, we had a case last week. It was the second time that the victim was being seen as a child victim. The first time the victim was seen, she was seen at the CDC. It was a case of sexual assault. The first time when we interviewed the child, we did not get very many words out of her. The second time we did the interview, we brought Faith in. Faith met with the child for about 10 15 minutes beforehand, brought the interviewers in. When she first came into our office, she was pretty shy, and I talked to the deputy, to Pat, and to our witness coordinator. By the time the interview got started, she was a chatterbox, which was really good. You know, one of the difficult things, especially in sexual assault cases involving children, is that you don't want to traumatize someone over again. And you know, you think about the situation where you're watching a World War II veteran, and they start talking to him about what happened, his eyes tear up, and then he has no voice because that's what trauma does. What Faith does is, by just being there, allowing the child to pet her and actually, again, interpose. She doesn't give answers. She doesn't tell the witness what to say. She's just there to release some of those tensions. And we've already seen her doing amazing things. These funds will be going, part of these funds are going to be going to send Pat, Faith, and one of our deputy prosecutors to a courthouse dog conference. Amazing. But they have these things. Faith is actually the 65th courthouse dog in the nation, and with what we've seen already, we're pretty amazed. But hopefully going through the conference, getting the deputy to learn about what problems they've been having in court, what things that they can do, what they can't do, will make this program even more successful than it's already been. So again, on behalf of the prosecutor's office, I want to thank you all for your support of this program and of faith. Someone said to me, I'll just finish with this, is that faith will heal many children. And we're looking forward to that happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. Yeah, I just want to say I feel that we're, as a county, are very ahead of the curve in a way with this, 65th in the nation. Awesome. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Thanks for really supporting this page. It's awesome. Only we get our job.
This is what she's trained to do.
I know. Thank you so much. A lot.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. Any other comments from council members? Ms. Ford?
Mr. Roth, I know you talked to me about this. When the child goes into the courtroom, sits in the witness stand, you have some kind of little bench or something, and Spank gets up on the bench, so she's accessible to the child without the child having to bend over, right?
So one of the things that has happened in different courtrooms we're looking at, and we still have to make the agreements with our courthouse, is courthouse would be like this, dog come underneath the witness stand and just take that pose. And visitor presence is a really common effect. Another just real quick analogy is our CJC interviewer who interviews these children. When we introduced her to Faith, she had come out of a really stressful interview, and just having Faith there kind of brought her stress down as well. But yes, in court, the dog would probably go underneath the witness stand. The jury would be informed that the dog is there, but wouldn't see the dog.
So the child can only basically touch the animal with the child's foot, or,
Or hand.
they can actually reach down and
Or she may come up on her lap. What we're seeing, the big benefit that I'm looking forward to right now is these cases that we haven't been able to get into the system because the child just isn't ready. So most of what Faith is going to be doing is actually in our office at the CJ.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. Any other comments, council members? If Mr. Liga.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, just a quick question. I was just curious. But anyway, just thank you so much. You've always been open to creative solutions, and I look at this as one of them. But I just wanted to ask you: is there 2 court dogs? How many are there? Just,
in our office?
Yeah.
Right now we have one dog.
Okay.
And we're looking at possibly getting another dog for Kona right now. We've been asked from the Kona office, so Faith will go over to the Kona office for cases over there.
Okay.
But right now we have one.
I see.
And we're working out all the issues that come up with the dogs.
And how many cases or have they?
Well, right now this is new to
Okay.
our office, so we're trying to get her into various different interviews when the witnesses come in.
I see.
And so we're trying to get her into as many as possible. So sometimes it's not always kids. We've had some pretty horrific cases where victims have been involved. We've asked if they wanted that to come in. It's kind of interesting watching the dynamics. It changes the interview process.
I was just curious. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Liga. Ms. Poindexter.
I just want to say I just stood up to see what the pose was, because earlier when I was doing certificate, her pose was on her back, legs all wide open and just totally relaxed. So thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roth. Alrighty, all those in favor of Resolution 483-14, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Willie, you wanted to take 481-14? Yes. Okay. Mr. Clerk, Resolution 481-14.
Resolution 481-144 urges the Hawaii State Board of Agriculture to deny Big Island Dairy's proposed amendment to the Hawaii Administrative Rules (HAR) which would allow waiver from minimum prices for milk. Urges denial of a proposed amendment to section 4-60-10A of the HAR, reference communication 968, introduced by Ms. Willie Wade, AWESC.
Ms. Willie, motion to approve resolution 481-14.
Yes, motion to approve resolution 481-14.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ford. Ms. Willie, you have the floor.
This resolution really addresses some important issues in my district. Mr. Botello is one of the dairy farmers there. He's actually one of only two of the two major ones. And part of this is about what we do in terms of what's great for us today versus what we need to do to sustain the production of milk. So this amendment is by the Oakhurst, Ocala Dairy, the Big Island Dairy, is going in and asking for a waiver from the requirements to set the minimum price of milk. The concern here is that if this Big Island Dairy is allowed the waiver, they would easily undercut the other dairies on the island and making them vulnerable to going out of business. And it's not just about the existing dairies. I know Ed's here, it's an existing dairy. It's also about other dairies that are, or entities that are interested in production of milk. So we all think, oh, this is great. This guy is going to provide us lower cost milk. You know, we're the consumer. But what happens when tomorrow comes and then suddenly everybody's out of business, or this one dairy just exists and has the leverage and the power to raise the price now that everybody else is gone. And so all of this is about stability, reliance, sustainability. It's also, there's a process issue here, which Mr. Botello brought up. The Milk Board basically sort of sets criteria, sort of what's the low price that we can set that preserves the existence of island dairies. And they're going in for a waiver based on those standards. And just as a lawyer, I want to say, in this case, you have the general rule of how you set the prices, and that's done usually as a group, everybody working together and with the board. And then you have someone asking for a waiver based on those same standards. It's like the exemption criteria is the same as the rule. It doesn't make sense. I went to the hearing in Waimea. There was a hearing. There were a large number of people that were concerned. I think that there is also a fear that if anyone speaks up by some of the smaller, that they could, there are going to be ramifications. I did hand out some testimony from Mauna Kea Moo,